Roy Wood Jr., I admire his hustle. I admire his humor. I admire his ambition most of all. He is now writing a book. He's written a book, and it's a great Father's Day gift, although I don't I think you're going to have to put like a coupon in a card and pre-order it because I don't know if you can physically get it in your hands in the next week. But he's got a new book he's written, The Man of Many Fathers. Roy, it's good to see you. Thank you for making the time. I did not think you had the time to be writing a book.
That's why it took 2 years to write, Dan. I did not know that a book would take that long. I thought it would be something quick and easy. I thought I would do it like other comedians, Dan, and just make a book full of jokes that I never performed on TV and trick y'all asses into giving me $30. But as I started writing, I figured, well, you know what? Let me give a damn and actually tell some stories about men in my life that actually made a difference. You know, it's a story that it's a book I want to inspire you, but also let you know you're not alone in having worked with somebody who was high on cocaine and they were better than you at the job.
I'm sorry for laughing, Roy. So, Roy, I know a lot about Roy's story. It's incredibly touching and interesting, and he's masking it with jokes. But I'm excited. I pre-ordered the book. I can't wait for it. Only thing better than seeing a Roy Wood show is texting with Roy, because all the jokes that he will not say on stage, I get every now and then, and they are outstanding. Oh, yeah, no, my only purpose is to let y'all know that Roy's my friend.
I mean, what are you doing?
Cool. Like, I don't give a damn about Roy. I don't give a damn about y'all. I would like the audience to know I got cool, famous friends.
Okay, but he's on the show right now. So do we. He's with us.
And he don't like y'all, though.
What?
He here because you got a big audience. He don't really like
Mommy
y'all.
and Daddy are fighting. I gotta pick a side.
Are you here because you don't like us?
Whoa. I'm just joking.
I'm joking.
No. But no, my pops died when I was 16, and when I had my son, you start reflecting on all the lessons you got as a man from other men, and a lot of them did not come from my father. So as I started making a list of things I wanted to try and teach my kid, I start reflecting on what was instilled in me and where did I get that, and it came from a myriad of different people. And so I just wanted to kind of compose a lot of those different stories into one big thing. There's a great story in there that I don't think we even have time to get into now, but like the first time you stand up to a terrible boss and you choose your dignity over money, you know, like just moments like that, stories like that. So for me, it was Shoney's in Tallahassee. I don't know if you remember the great American restaurant, Shoney's, Dan. It was doing
dead
well.
now? So it's gone? Shoney's? There are no more Shoney's
I
nowhere?
passed one on my way home from North Carolina.
Still kicking.
They're still kicking.
Yeah.
Shoney's is still kicking out there somewhere.
Let's. I don't know about kicking it. It's Shoney's is where single A baseball teams go to celebrate winning a 3-game series now, and I say that with respect. It's a fallen institution. When Applebee's and Red Lobster got cheaper, and they added a lot of more alcohol, it kind of kills Shoney's vibes. But my point is, if you got a supervisor you don't like, slap their ass in the face, and slap them, but make sure you don't need the job anymore. That's the important thing.
Okay, I think
That would be very important.
I think it's also a little bit reckless, though. You're now telling people to commit a crime. I think there's an assault involved with a slapping there. You want to be
Metaphorical.
It's only a crime if they snitch, Dan. Like, why in this scenario did the person snitch? Maybe they cool to lose a fair one, you know?
I did not know. I don't know what you speak of. I assume that if you slap somebody in the face, that that's going to result in problems that nobody around here needs. But I think we've all wanted to do that, and somewhere, I was curious why it is you tackle writing. Funny is really hard. Obviously, you do it well, but you're tackling here subject matter also that I would think would make you emotional, would it not?
Very much so. And, you know, when you look back at the idea of parenting, the problem is that when you reflect on where you learn things, you have to reckon with the fact that there are a lot of things you never got from your father, even when he was living. And so reconciling that is difficult because we're also, like all of us as parents as a whole, you want your kids to have a life that's better than the life that you had. So you want to work to provide that for your kids. While at the same time that I'm raising my son to have a better life, I'm reckoning with the fact that, well, I didn't have a dad like me. So in a way, you almost end up jealous of your own kid, but you're the reason that you're jealous of the kid. And so you constantly oscillate between being proud and happy that you're able to do these things, but also having a moment of reflection, and that you never got that moment. And your father's passed, so you don't get to ask those questions as to why. And I think that's the thing that's the most difficult, is that when you have a parent that's good dad, bad husband, if that makes sense, it's hard to be able to not look at how he made certain choices in his life and not want to go, yo, man, what was your problem? Why would you do that? And get an honest answer. And so I think accepting the fact that you'll never have all the answers to why your parents did the things that they did, I think that's one of the most toughest things that we have to swallow as adults and push forward and just try and be better versions of them.
So if you're offended by a boss getting slapped in the face, you're probably the boss that deserves to get slapped in the face. And also...
And would snitch.
And would snitch.
Yeah, would call the authorities immediately if anyone slapped me in the face.
And also, Roy, what is there one lesson that you learned or that you share in this book that you would make sure that anyone who buys this book walks away with?
For me, it's the idea of always knowing who you are and not allowing anyone to compromise that. And I think that's one of the first things that I believe the industry tries to ask of us. I believe it's one of the first things that significant others try to ask of us, if I'm being honest, because you can be with somebody and then that person may want you to conform and turn into something, that you aren't. I think that the idea of, I tell a story in the book about the time that I got booed at the Apollo Theater and the lessons that I learned from that. And a lot of that came from, I'm not going to say a pimp. Here's a sidebar question real quick. Let me just ask you as a black man. When you see a dude out on the curb, but he's not selling drugs, but you don't see any women, is he a pimp or a hustler or a drug dealer? Which occupation? Because I don't even think I gave this dude the right job title.
Well, it depends on whether he has on a panky ring or not.
Oh, no, he didn't have on a panky ring. He had on one of them super thick, all-leather Averex jackets.
Oh, that feels very hustler, drug dealer-like to me.
If he was a pimp, he's going through a lot of roster cuts, and he probably needs to make some free agent signings. I'll just say it that way.
In rebuilding mode?
Yeah, I think the biggest, but to answer the question, you can get lessons in life from anybody. And for me, having just got booed, I'm walking back to the hotel, in Elizabeth, New Jersey, which is pretty rough. And dude just comes up to me. I explained to him what's going on. He goes, man, I got shot 3 times. I'm still here. And he just walked off. And it was like such an insightful moment to have with just a random stranger. But the idea of knowing that you need to bounce back, that you can get back up off the ground, I think that's the biggest lesson that I feel like anybody can take away from this book. And, it's a great Father's Day gift that you won't get until the end of October when it comes out.
No, I mean, I think it's powerful. Learning from other people's experiences is really hard to do. As a father, I know, trying to teach my kids based on things that they haven't experienced. I'm so impressed when they can internalize it, even though they don't understand it, they haven't experienced it yet. But the biggest thing that I'm working on with my kids right now is taking responsibility. I don't need a story. You messed up. That's it.
How do you teach that, though? That's the thing, is that we come up in different struggles, all 3 of us, right? All with respective super blue collar, middle class, lower class upbringings, just depending on what job your parents got that particular year. How do you teach that type of struggle when your life is different? I rode an airplane 3 times total before the age of 25. My son is Delta Sky Miles Gold Medallion. He's 9. I remember telling him one night, I was like, if you keep this up, we're going to fly Spirit. And he cried. Oh, he cried. So I think those are the things that I struggle with, even with this book, man. It's not like you're going to read 12 lessons and go, aha, I have all the keys. It's just, here's a couple of values that I learned from various people, some respected, some weird, some random street hustlers going through a rebuild on a corner in New Jersey. So, to me, I think that we just have to always realize that, I'm 46, I'm still learning about parenting. I'm still gathering knowledge from people, and sometimes from people younger than us too. I think that's also a mistake that we make at a certain age, is that we think because you ain't got as many gray hairs as me that you don't know anything, and that couldn't be any further from the truth.
I like envisioning your son at 9 years old walking to the front of the line of the lounge and just pushing his way through. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah,
I'm here. Let me in.
My favorite thing to do now with my son, Fox, my favorite thing to do is give him his own boarding pass and let him board with the boarding group without me, and just let him cut in front of those Zone 3 ghettos. I'm Zone 2, you bitch. Get out the way. Because we're teaching him like how to assert himself and all that stuff. So one of the first things, especially as a New Yorker, you got to learn how to throw them bows and get through the crowd, man. Folks, no one's going to give it to you, man. You got to weave and bob. And, New York, you got to shove. You got to check somebody into the glass to get with your boarding group. So it's those little moments like that where I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. And then he can write a book.
The funny thing about that is what you're saying is like there's a balance and there's a time for everything. And I think oftentimes we want these firm rules to like always be like this, always be like that. Like there's a time to be assertive. There's a time to be deferential, and understanding that is something that you have to learn. I have a bunch of stories similar to that. On our way down to my family, we're down here for a little bit of a Miami vacation. And before we left, my wife was like, hey, go get your goggles, pack your goggles. My 12-year-old son was like, we'll just get some when we get there.
Oh.
With what money?
Entitlement.
I was like, what?
Entitlement.
No.
What? If you don't get your ass in the garage.
No, that's too late for that. It's too late for that. What do you mean? You don't get your ass in the garage. It's already there. If he's already grown up in a way that makes him expect to get the goggles when he gets there. Get your ass in your garage ain't going to correct that.
Find the goggles, they in the garage, man.
Put it on the poll, please. In New York, do you have to shove? Can you guys look up for me, please, the number of Shoney's that there are in America? Because I don't believe...
I know there's one in Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Definitely one in Orlando. Definitely one in Orlando.
Okay, and it needs to never die. Shoney's and put that on the poll as well. Do we need to make sure that Shoney's never dies? But boot at the Apollo, though. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You don't have one that hurts more than that, do you?
Oh, it wasn't getting booed at the Apollo that hurt. It was what happened on radio the next day. I was doing mornings in Birmingham at the time. I get booed. Now, for context, you got to understand, nobody from Alabama gets on TV, ever. Before me, I think it was Ricky Smiley was like the only person. Like, this is pre-Ruben Studdard American Idol Birmingham talent pool, pre-Taylor Hicks and Bo Bice and all of that. Bro, I got booed. I'd go on the radio the next day after my episode airs like a week later. The day after it airs, somebody calls into the station and goes, yeah, tell Roy if that's the best he can do, he need to start telling people he from Montgomery. You ain't ripping the crib right. Click.
Oh, no.
That hurt because that person was looking forward to be doing well and representing. It's a lot of responsibility, man. When you from a place that don't get put on much, you supposed to represent. You got to over-represent, and they're not representing that.
I mean, getting booed at the Apollo is kind of a rite of passage, isn't it?
Yeah.
I guess, but the thing that they don't tell you about the Apollo is that it's rigged against you. First of all, they shoot 3 episodes in one night with the same crowd. So by the time you get on stage as a comedian, the audience has been there 2.5 hours. You're dealing with crowd fatigue. Number 2, the drinks are $3. At least they were in 2002 when I got booed. So you got 1,500 people in Harlem who've been drinking $3 well vodka for 2.5 hours. Yeah, they just booed a kid singing a gospel song, and then here comes me. Hey, y'all, I'm from Alabama. I sure y'all ain't got no Waffle House up here. And then you get booed, and then you go back down into this green room with all of the other amateur night acts that are all waiting to go up, and it's like if you could ever see somebody coming back from the electric chair, like after getting fried, I don't know if that makes sense. And half the room has survived. The other half is waiting to go. It's like walking the green mile. So there's so many things that you're up against. Like Apollo back in the day would have a music act every episode, like a major music act. So they would shoot all 3 of those acts. So I think the night that I taped, it was Ja Rule. I think Faith Evans came. Ja Rule did 2 songs for an episode. Faith Evans came out, did 2 songs for an episode. And then it was P. Diddy and the Family. They did like a whole medley, whatever, like that. That was how the show started. And then you do all the Apollo kids. Then you do the real amateur. There was a man in my episode. I wish I could find the whole episode, bro. There was a man in my episode at Showtime at the Apollo. He was a black guy in the 60s, roller skating melodically to Lou Rawls, and they didn't boo him. And I'm like, really? That's what we're letting across the... Look, I know this is a place for black talent, and we get to showcase the best of blackness, but what are you going to do with the roller skating to Lou Rawls? What is there a talent agent in the crowd? You got all the gifts, kid. What's your name? Mr. Stanley? Oh, Mr. Stanley, good to me. Yes, where does this go?
Sandman got to get out there on that one. You got to do your job, Sandy. You got to get out there.
Nah, it was also, they respected him because he looked like he was marching back in the day for our rights. Okay. I get why you didn't boo him, but it's just,
that's not fair. That's not the opener.
I got to disagree with you there. Like, I understand that the reason that we had this theater, it could perform at this point, is in part because of the sacrifices he made. But don't soil our stage with this foolishness.
Yeah, if the family's listening, I'm sorry. I hope you're somewhere still roller skating to Lou Rawls. Come open for me.
All right. Put it on the poll. Was the guy roller skating to Lou Rawls not booed because he marched during the civil rights?
For our rights.
He was like 65.
Because he marched for our rights.
Old.
Okay, but I don't believe that's why that happened. But okay,
no, I mean,
that's where the well drinks were respectful. Just at the roller skating Lou Rawls guy.
There's a respect for age. Like, Dan, you get this.
Okay.
There's a respect for age and experience.
All right. I've got some sports questions for you before you get out of here, and I tell the people, the man of many fathers, buy his book, support the people who support us. Roy Wood is one of the greats who is supporting us, and we appreciate his time and, as I said, his ambitions. But as a Cubs fan, do you want to tell people that that Suzuki is a top 20 hitter in baseball? Like, are you beating your chest about your baseball team because you have a good baseball team?
No, because I want us to be good quietly. And then in October, then we can start playing with pressure. I love the fact that y'all don't cover Suzuki the way that y'all cover everybody else in the league right now. I know he's not your favorite Japanese player. I know there's one in Los Angeles that y'all seem to love a little bit more. But guess who got him in the numbers? Suzuki do, bitch.
Yep, that's right. That's what I was trying to lure out of him. Pacers Thunder, do you have any thoughts there? This is not obviously a series that America is going to embrace for viewership reasons, but it's great basketball. It's fun basketball teams.
If you appreciate basketball, you got to love it. But, I think this is when the NBA needs to, like, when you have a Middle America NBA Finals, this is when the league has to start paying influencers to go to these games. Like, you gotta get Timothy Chalamet and just, hey, would you mind just sitting courtside in Oklahoma on a Tuesday night, please? Because that's where the finals are supposed to be where the casual fans come in. I think that's probably where the league, they'll never admit it, but they're probably behind closed doors going, we need it in New York. But you're going to get a good series. You're going to get a deserving champion. Halliburton has shut up everybody's mouth. Don't know how I feel about the nickname Halliban.
Yeah,
but
it's tough.
But outside of that, I'm fine with the finals. I'm not here to create a whole new debate, but it's that one flies a little too close to freedom and dead veterans and.
Dang, why you ain't ask my man about the Stanley Cup final? It's happening right now. So you ask him about basketball?
Baseball. I did ask him about baseball.
Well, the Atlanta Thrashers have a good chance in the Stanley Cup final. As we all know, my favorite NHL team is the Atlanta Thrashers.
The name of the book is The Man of Many Fathers. I want to play this sound for you and get your thoughts on Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise, I'm sure your book is not as emotional as this is, as Tom Cruise is about Father's Day.
Also, got to ask, Father's Day is just around the corner. What would an ideal Father's Day look like for you?
Hey, just having fun, man. Making movies, big adventure, having a great time.
Nailed it.
I love it. I love it. Don't you ask me no other questions, heifer. I told your ass before we turned the camera on that we're talking about the airplane flips. Ask me about the submarine. Ask me about the sky. That's it. No ad libs. You're getting exactly. Respect to Tom Cruise, who rarely surfaces ever for media. Y'all ain't gonna never get him on the podcast because of behavior like that. That's what you get. Try to trick him. That's discipline.
Put it on the poll, please. Are you ever getting Tom Cruise on the podcast? Because he's so right about that. Tom Cruise ain't ever coming on anybody's podcast.
Just having fun, man.
Not.